I found a wounded alien woman in the forest. She closed her eyes, thinking it was the end. The forest was quiet that evening, the kind of stillness that carries its own weight. The sun was already sinking beyond the horizon, spilling its last golden rays to the branches of towering pines. I had come out here, as I often did, to hike the trails and clear my head after another long day at the lab. But that night was different. The silence was broken by something strange, an uneven sound like the ragged breath of a wounded animal. At first, I thought it might be a deer or a coyote caught in one of the poacher's traps. My chest tightened. I hated the thought of something suffering out here. So I followed the sound deeper into the forest, pushing past thick undergrowth until I reached a small clearing. That's when I saw her. At first, my brain couldn't process what my eyes were telling me. She lay sprawled across the ground, her body half hidden in the grass. Not an animal. Not human, either. Her skin shimmered faintly under the moonlight, like liquid silver. She wore what looked like torn fabric fused with technology, armor plating that hummed faintly, cracked and leaking light. Her chest rose and fell in shallow, painful gasps. And then her eyes met mine. They were large, luminous, like pools of deep blue light. Fear flickered in them. And for an instant, I swore she tried to lift her hand to ward me off. But she was too weak. Her eyelids fluttered, and with a soft exhale, she closed her eyes as if surrendering to me, to fate, to death itself. I dropped to my knees beside her. No, don't do that. I whispered, panic rising in me. You're not going to die here. I didn't know what she was. I didn't know if helping her would be dangerous. But I knew one thing. She was alive, and she needed me. The rescue instinct took over. I tore open my backpack, pulling out my first aid kit. I had no idea if human medicine would work on whatever she was, but I couldn't just sit there and watch her fade. Her side was torn open, glowing blood seeping out. It wasn't red, but a strange turquoise, pulsing faintly like light trapped in liquid. I pressed gauze against the wound, and she twitched violently, a faint sound escaping her lips, something between a cry and a word. I didn't understand the language, but the tone was clear. Pain. Hang on, I said. Just hang on. She didn't answer, but her breathing steadied ever so slightly as I worked. I bound her wound as best I could, then slid my arms under her fragile frame. She was lighter than I expected, almost as if her bones weren't as dense as ours. Still, carrying her back to my cabin was exhausting. Every step weighed down not just by her body, but by the impossible reality of what I was doing. An actual alien was in my arms. Back at the cabin, I laid her on the couch. For a long while, I just stood there, staring at her, my mind racing with 1,000 questions. Where had she come from? Was she alone? Was anyone or anything coming after her? Then she stirred. Her eyes opened again, glassy but alert. She scanned the room, then focused on me. Her lips parted, shaping sounds I couldn't understand, though one word came through, soft, broken, but clear. Safe. Yes, I said quickly, nodding. You're safe here. Her eyes glistened, and for the first time, I saw relief wash over her face. Communication. Over the next few days, I nursed her back to health. She healed faster than I thought possible, her wound knitting together in ways that seemed more biological magic than medicine. At first, we struggled to communicate, but slowly, she began to pick up English, her mind adapting with uncanny speed. Her name, she told me, was Liara. She was not from Earth. Her ship had been attacked, forced down into our atmosphere. The crash had scattered debris miles away, but she'd been separated from her crew, if they had survived at all. They hunt, she said one evening, her voice trembling. Not humans. Me, my people. I frowned. Who hunts you? Her expression darkened, and she whispered a word that chilled me. The Draxel. From what little she explained, the Draxel were conquerors, raiders who tore across star systems like locusts. Her people had been resisting them for decades. Her ship hadn't just been exploring, it had been fleeing. That's when I realized the implications. If Liara was here, and if the Draxel were chasing her, Earth might not stay safe for long. The bond, despite the fear hanging over us, something unexpected grew between us. Liara was different, yes, alien, but also kind, curious, and strangely human in the way she laughed at my clumsy attempts to cook, or the way her eyes softened whenever she listened to the wind rustle the trees outside the cabin. One night, as the firelight flickered across her silvered skin, she asked me, "Why help me?" I hesitated, searching for the answer in myself. Because you needed it. Because no one deserves to die alone in the woods. Because I paused, meeting her glowing eyes. Because I couldn't walk away. She studied me for a long moment, then reached out, her fingers brushing mine. Her touch was warm, almost electric. Many would fear. Many would kill. You did not. Her trust, her presence. It stirred something in me I hadn't felt in years. A sense of purpose. But the peace didn't last. The hunters. It started with the sky. A streak of fire across the horizon, brighter than any meteor. Then came the sound, deep, thrumming, like thunder that wouldn't stop. Liara's face went pale. They come. I didn't need to ask who. We had hours, maybe less, before they reached us. My first instinct was to hide her, but Liara shook her head. No hiding. They sense. They track. Must fight or run. Run where? They'll find you no matter where we go. She looked at me with quiet determination. Not alone. With you. I should have said no. I was just a scientist, not a soldier. But when she said those words, I knew I couldn't abandon her. Not now. Together, we gathered supplies. Liara tinkered with pieces of her broken armor, creating small devices that hummed with alien energy. Weapons, shields, things I couldn't again understand, but trusted in her hands. Night fell, and the forest lit up with an otherworldly glow as the Draxel landed. Their ship descended like a black claw from the stars, tearing through the trees as it crashed into the earth. Figures emerged, tall, armored, insectoid shadows that moved with terrifying precision. Liara gripped my hand. Stay close. The battle that followed was chaos. Liara moved with fluid grace, her weapons crackling with light as she struck the Draxel down. I did what I could, throwing rocks, distracting, even firing my old hunting rifle. Somehow, against all odds, we survived wave after wave. But their leader, massive, armored like living steel, cornered us near the river. His voice was a guttural roar. The fugitive dies tonight. Liara staggered, her weapon broken, blood glowing across her skin. She fell to her knees. I stepped forward, raising my rifle though my hands shook. The Draxel laughed, a cruel, metallic sound. And then Liara looked up at me. Her lips formed words I understood, without translation. Run. But I didn't. I pulled the trigger. The shot rang out, striking the Draxel leader in the throat. It wasn't enough to kill him, but enough to give Liara a chance. With a final surge of strength, she unleashed the last of her energy core, a blinding wave of light that consumed the monster and sent the rest fleeing into the night. Then she collapsed in my arms. The ending. For a terrifying moment, I thought I had lost her. She lay limp, her eyes closed, her breathing faint. It was the same as that night in the forest, her surrender, her acceptance of death. But this time, I wasn't going to let her go. Liara, stay with me. I begged. You're safe. You're safe with me. Her chest rose once more. Her eyes fluttered open. And when she saw me, when she realized she was still alive, tears slipped down her silver cheeks. She whispered one word. Safe. In that moment, I knew, whatever dangers lay ahead, whatever storms the universe might bring, we would face them together. Because on that night in the forest, when I found a wounded alien woman who thought it was the end, it was only the beginning.